Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 57. We have two articles in our drop tonight. The first one is from the Daily Mail, and the other one is from the Sun. Before we get to those emails, though, if you would like to contact me, you could do that at Bobbycapucci at protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. All right, so the first article from the Daily Mail, it's about a watchdog group in London is probing the decision not to investigate the claims by Virginia Roberts into Prince Andrew. So I guess they're sort of like a oversight group that keeps an eye out on what police are up to and what they're doing and the decisions they're making. And then if they think something is going on that's untoward, they investigate it and I guess bring a case. I don't really know how the legal system works over in England, to be honest with you, but I'm guessing it's something like sort of like Judicial Watch here in America. So if that's the case, that's pretty good. Let's see what they have to say. Let's get a fresh eye on things, right? Why should we just believe what the officials tell us? Why should we believe them? In the absence of evidence, they just want us to believe what they say. And that ship has long sailed. They've had their chance. See, what happens is you have a chance at credibility, and then once you destroy that credibility, well, it's very hard to gain it back. And especially when you continuously lie, and you lie, and you lie, and you lie, the way the media does, well, that's what happens. And not only just the media, because let's be real, we know who they're getting their marching orders from. They're getting fed these stories by certain people in these positions of power in the government, right? They're not just making these stories up. I mean, I guess they might be at this point. Who knows, really? But anyway, that's that article, and our second article is from the Sun. And supposedly, I guess the source is saying that Prince Andrew has kept in constant contact with Ghislaine Maxwell throughout the whole entire Epstein crisis. So if that's the case, it's just another blow to this idiot's credibility. We all know he has very little of that left. And there's some other stuff that's breaking with him that I'm going to cover a little bit more in depth tomorrow. I didn't want to clog up a daily drop with it. We'll talk about some of the things that are going on with Prince Andrew. He's facing a lot more scrutiny, and with this being the December 2nd being the day that the Virginia Roberts interview with Panorama on BBC airs, that's all this guy needs is more crap coming down the tunnel at him. But he's made his own bed, right? Who's feeling sorry for this guy? Certainly not me. I lived a whole life of privilege, had the ability to do whatever he wanted, had the funds, the money, the backing, the social status to do great things. But instead, he chose to spend his time dicking around with criminals like Jeffrey Epstein and some of these other crooked sons of bitches he ran with. So if you think I have any sympathy for him, you have another thing coming, because how many people would kill to have the advantages he had? How many people had to literally work themselves almost to death to provide themselves just a decent living? And this guy was handed everything on a silver platter, and what did he do? Completely and utterly shit the bed. Absolute moron. All right, so our first article is the one from the Mail. And the headline is, Police Watchdog probes Met Police decision to drop its investigation into sex trafficking claims made by Prince Andrew's accuser, Virginia Roberts. Police watchdogs are probing the Metropolitan Police's decision to rule out an investigation into sex trafficking claims made by the woman who accused Prince Andrew. Virginia Roberts, 35, claims she was brought to the UK to have sex with Prince Andrew by his friend, convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Well, we have the proof. We've seen the pictures. We've seen all of that stuff. We've heard the corroborating stories. We've seen it all. We've seen the evidence that she's presenting. And what we've seen so far from the people that she's accusing is a lot of nothing, right? Certainly no plausible defense. Scotland Yard decided to drop the case in November 2016, claiming it was because the accusations happened overseas. How is that even the case? Happened overseas? She was raped in England. She was trafficked to the Duke of York in England, in Belgravia, at Maxwell's house. How is that overseas? Sounds more like to me somebody telling whoever was in charge of the actual investigation on the ground, the actual cops and investigators that are worth their weight in salt, sounds like their bosses put the screws to him and told them, "Hey, look, don't investigate this case. You understand? Get rid of this case. They're not getting rid. They're not even investigating in America. So what are you doing? Get rid of this. We don't need this. The royals don't need this." That's basically what it looks like to me. The Independent Office for Police Conduct is now making inquiries over the contended decision. Virginia, who is now married and has the surname Joffrey, claims she was forced to have sex with Andrew when she was 17 years old. News of the IOPC's probe comes just 3 days before the screening of the BBC Panorama episode with Miss Roberts. The hour-long special, which airs on BBC One on Monday, was recorded before the Duke's disastrous Newsnight interview, in which he denied the allegation. Well, that's funny. I wonder why BBC had it and didn't run it. Why would they have the interview already primed up and ready to go, but not running it? Are they trying to save face here? I understand that they're doing a good thing, and they did a good thing by putting Andrew to the question, but if they've had this interview with Roberts, why wait till now to run it? What is their motivation behind that? Why didn't they just run it right away? Miss Roberts says, "He knows what happened, and I know what happened, and there's only one of us telling the truth. If the IOPC goes ahead, it will have the power to question officers, take witness statements, and review key documents. It would also be allowed to reopen previously closed cases if new evidence has emerged." All right, so not like Judicial Watch then. It's sort of more like the Inspector General here. So if there's, if there's any hint of wrongdoing in America, the Inspector General investigates, and then if he finds that there was crimes committed in his opinion, he can refer those crimes to the Justice Department, or she could refer those crimes to the Justice Department, and then the Justice Department decides if they're going to press charges and indict. So I'm guessing it's something similar here, but like I said, I'm certainly no expert on English law. The Met Police initially decided against investigating Miss Roberts' claims in 2015, even though it continued its doomed celebrity sex abuse investigation, Operation Midland. In a statement yesterday, Commander Alex Murray told The Sun that the Met's decision not to investigate was reviewed in August. By who? Somebody who was drunk or high on mushrooms? I don't understand who could possibly review this and see this information, even just from the outside looking in the way we are, even from just scratching the surface, and not sit up in their chair completely straight and say to yourselves, "Oh yeah, I'm investigating the shit out of this." Last night, an IOPC spokesperson confirmed, "We have not received a referral, but are making inquiries with the Metropolitan Police regarding their review." All right, well, at least the tires are being kicked, right? You gotta kick the tires. If you wanna be able to go back to the hotel room after the dance, you gotta go to the dance, right? If you want to win the game, you gotta play in the game. So at the very least, they're taking a look at what's going on here, and they're going to see if these police officers acted out of order. Maybe they didn't follow what they should have been following. Maybe they had pressure put on them. Who knows what these inspectors will find, if they'll find anything. Miss Roberts has claimed in court papers in Florida that she was forced to have sex with Andrew when she was age 17, under the state's age of consent. Her allegations, which Andrew strenuously denies, were struck from U.S. civil court records in 2015 after a judge said they were immaterial and impertinent. Wrong. It follows Andrew's attempt to defend himself against Miss Roberts' accusations and explain his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein during an interview on BBC's Newsnight, which was branded a car crash. I think it's a little bit more than a car crash at this point. Let us say perhaps the Hindenburg car crash is being polite to this clown, because that interview was flipping horrible, right? So let's hope that this watchdog does initiate an investigation, and if they have the power of subpoena, the power to get people under oath, more to the better. So let's see where that goes. We're going to keep an eye on that story, obviously, and I'm going to make sure we follow that one and see if it goes anywhere, see if it leads anywhere, and see if it leads to any new information. All right, our next article is from The Sun, and the headline is "Unswerving Loyalty. Prince Andrew is kept in constant touch with Ghislaine Maxwell during Jeffrey Epstein crisis." Of course he has. Do we need any more information that this guy is a scumbag, folks? Do we need any more information? Honestly, if you haven't made up your mind yet, if you're still on the fence right now about this, I really don't know what to say. And we haven't even gotten into his shady-ass business dealings yet. That's going to be for tomorrow. I mean, we haven't even gotten into that. This guy is just completely and utterly crooked. Never mind just involved with pedophilia. He is just utterly corrupt, just like the rest of them. We told you last week how the beleaguered Duke, 59, how had entertained Maxwell, the ex of his now dead pedophile pal Epstein, at Buckingham Palace in June. So we went over that. You can find that episode in the catalog. It's titled, "Their meeting at his private quarters came just a month before Epstein was arrested on sex trafficking charges." A source said they have remained constantly in touch by phone and email. The Duke has unswerving loyalty to Ghislaine, and she is also very loyal to him. So they were in contact too. They had their little huddle 2 weeks prior to Epstein getting arrested. They all probably knew it was coming down the pipe. We know that the prosecutors called Epstein's attorney to have him turn himself in. They didn't swat him. They didn't raid his house. You know, this is a guy that actually could get rid of sensitive material, and they don't raid his house. Whereas, once again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but look what they did to Roger Stone. And politics aside, who wants the army, a militarized police force like the FBI kicking in your door for blue-collar crimes when sex trafficking and child molestation is just, okay, well, come in and turn yourself in, all right, buddy? What do you think? Is that okay with you? I mean, on what planet do we live on when that's okay? When that's standard procedure? Because it's not, like I've said, there's a two-tier justice system, folks. If it was you or I, they would be dragging us out at the most embarrassing point they possibly could find for us. At our job, at home, in front of our neighbors, whatever they could possibly do to turn the screws and put the screws to us just a little bit more and make it that more embarrassing, that's what they would do. But with this guy, oh no, the utmost respect. Let's defer to him. Let's let him do what he wants. He can turn himself in whenever he pleases. It's basically what they're saying, and it's gross. It's absolutely gross. Ghislaine will do anything to protect the Duke, and the feeling is mutual. They both share the same view. They have done nothing wrong. Andrew has always been very stubborn, and as far as he is concerned, both he and Ghislaine have done nothing wrong, and so why should anything get in the way of a friendship that has lasted more than 20 years? They talk regularly. If he wasn't in the spotlight at the moment, he would have found a way to meet up with her. And that just goes to tell you everything you need to know, folks, about these people. They know what each other are doing. I don't want to hear they didn't know. Oh, I had no idea what he was doing. They were this close. They're that close. Andrew knew exactly what Ghislaine Maxwell was doing. He knew exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And you know how, folks? You know how he knew? Because he was also engaged in the same activity. All right? Come on. We'll let other people dance around the facts. On this podcast, on this show, we're going to give you that smoke, that real raw smoke, right? We're going to just give it to you raw. And that's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. And that's just the end of it. These people were so in on it together, it's not even funny. If you think that if you're going to keep your relationship with Maxwell going, with everything that is known about her, and then you're going to get on the BBC interview and you're going to talk about being the honorable man and doing the honorable thing and this, that, and the other thing, nobody believes you. All right? Do I have to say it again? Do I have to go through it again? I guess I do, so I will. They don't believe you in South Dakota. They do not believe you in Oregon. They don't believe you in Texas, and they don't believe you in Florida. They don't believe you in New York, and they don't believe you in California. They don't believe you in England, and they do not believe you in Australia. They do not believe you anywhere, Prince Andrew. All right? Recruiter of girls. The FBI is keen to speak with Maxwell, 57, who has been described as a recruiter of young girls for Epstein, who committed suicide in a New York jail cell in August while being held on sex trafficking charges. Allegedly. The revelation the pair are still close comes as Buckingham Palace holds its breath over a panorama special on Monday night where sex slave Virginia Roberts will reveal explosive new details of her relationship with Andrew. Boy, I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for her to double-barrel blast this clown. This bumbling buffoon, this idiot, this moron. I cannot wait for her to just really, really stick the knife in. Because guess what? If anyone deserves to be disgraced, and if anyone deserves to be piled on upon, it's this guy. All right? I don't care if he's a prince. I don't care if you love his mother. I don't care if you're a monarchist. This man, at the very least, if you throw out all the evidence Virginia Roberts provides, if you throw out all that evidence, at the very least, he still enabled Jeffrey Epstein. And that is unacceptable. She claims to have been trafficked to London to have sex with Epstein and Maxwell 3 times, including once in London in 2001 after a night out at Tramp nightclub when she was just 17. In his car crash Newsnight interview, aka Hindenburg level of crash interview, last month, the Duke denied knowing Virginia and insisted he was at Pizza Express in Woking the night they were supposed to have met. Yeah, you really remember that pizza party, huh? That a real big pizza feast you had that night, Prince. He also raised eyebrows by saying he couldn't have been sweaty from dancing, as she said he couldn't sweat due to medical conditions that he had. Virginia's interview took place before his Newsnight appearance, and the palace is said to be fearful of what it may contain. You know, I really wish it would have happened after, so she could have countered his points point by point. But I'll probably tell you, I'm guessing what the interview that they had previously, Mateless studied, and off of that interview, she probably shaped her questions. That's what I would have done if I was her. Obviously, I don't have any intimate knowledge of that situation. I'm not invited to their board meetings or into their newsroom, but that's what I would think would occur in a situation like that. Interview backlash. One source said, everyone is on tenterhooks, especially after the backlash to the Duke's Newsnight interview. No one saw the fallout from that coming, especially the Duke. Huh, no one, huh? He better hire new people. We all saw it on this podcast. We all knew that this guy was a train wreck waiting to happen. We all knew that he was a bumbling fool, the George Bush of the royal family. It's fair to say everyone is nervously chewing their lips at Buckingham Palace to see what she will say. Virginia has claimed Maxwell recruited her to work as Epstein's masseuse when she was 15 and to give sexual massages to his pals, including Andrew, who she also has said to have had an orgy with. As a result of the fallout from his interview, the Duke was forced to withdraw from royal duties, while charities and societies linked to him have dumped the Duke in droves. Buckingham Palace has denied all allegations and insists the Duke has never met Virginia Roberts, as she was known at the time, with his pals claiming a picture of them together in Maxwell's London flat may be fake. Listen to the words, folks. May be fake. He wants to leave himself wiggle room. If it wasn't real and he knew it wasn't real, he'd be emphatic, right? That is not a real picture. F you. I don't give a good God, blah, 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 what you say about it. Let's go to the experts. Let's bring it to Pawn Stars in Las Vegas. They probably have an expert for that. All right? I'd be under every rock to prove my innocence. But no, what does he say? Oh, it might not be me. It could not be me. It might be a fake, but blah, 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 blah. Liar is what he's really saying. Panorama's interview with Virginia Roberts was originally down for a 30-minute slot, but is now doubled to an hour and will start at 9 p.m. In a trailer released last week, she described it as a really scary time in my life and adds, he knows what happened, I know what happened, and there's only one of us telling the truth. Sheesh. Sheesh. So there you have it, folks. That is our daily drop for the evening. Those are our 2 stories for the evening. And it's getting hot and heavy. All right, Prince Andrew he's certainly sweating tonight. I bet you he's sweating tonight knowing that Virginia Roberts is about to put him on blast on this interview. We're talking, he is going to be put on such blast and made to look like such an absolute and utter fool that it's going to be just completely and utterly joyful to watch. Because, like I said, he deserves it. If anyone deserves to be disgraced, it's this clown. At the very least, he enabled Epstein and helped Epstein bring these girls into his orbit. And for that offense, Prince Andrew, you must answer. All right, folks. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thank you for joining me for this whole run. Like I said, we broke 100,000 downloads today. 100,000 downloads. And look, it's not me, it's we, because like I always say on this show, I started this show out just as, I was so insanely upset about what was going on that I had to vent. And, Lee graciously enough, let me start this show on his channel. And here we are, right? And back then, I thought I had a grasp of what was going on in this case. The first 6 or 7 episodes of this podcast, I was just scratching the surface. I hadn't fully red pilled yet either, to be honest with you. But now that I'm fully engaged in this case the way I am, and this is basically what I do now all day, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm pursuing as a story right now as a journalist. This is the only story I'm basically pursuing. So I've learned so much, and it's just eye-opening what we've uncovered here on these daily drops. And if you're new to the show, I highly suggest going back and listening to the daily drops from the very beginning, the first one, and see how they've evolved over time, and see how things have evolved in the case over time. And if you'd want to get a better idea about who I am and what the show is about, you can go and check out episode 0. And it's a pretty decent episode where Lee, the producer of the show and the channel, is on, and he is asking me some questions and stuff like that. So if you want to learn some more about me and the show in that regard, definitely download that episode. If you would like to contact me, you could do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That is BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. And if you would like to support the show, you can find the GoFundMe link inside of the description box. All right, folks, I will talk to everybody tomorrow as we continue to make media great again.